Hi friends, I'm Laura and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to introduce you to my 2022 One Little Word of the Year. One Little Word is a project hosted by Allie Edwards, and she is a memory keeper. She holds a year-long workshop over on her website where you can work through different prompts as you're guided throughout the year by one word. 2022 is actually my 6th or 7th year having a word or a one little word throughout the year. I've got some notes here that I'm going to be referencing. I did a lot of deep reflection on last year and how I wanted to best move forward in 2022. And I also wrote down some definitions and a few quotes having to do with my word. And so I've got all that here that I'll probably reference throughout the video. So if you see me look down, I'm looking at my cute little notebook where I've got all the pages of notes here. Slowly is an adverb of the word slow. Here are some of the definitions that I've gathered for the word. Slowly, gradually, slowly but surely, at a slow pace, not in a rush, not quickly, early, or rashly. Taking more time than expected or wanted. Moving or operating or designed to do so only at a low speed. Lasting or taking a long time. And then a quote that I found is, "It is better to go slow in the right direction than it is to go fast in the wrong direction." I love this word, and I'm also resistant to it. And that to me indicates that it's an area in which I personally need to grow and want to grow. Let's talk about how this word came to be. I found this word in December, as I usually do find my word in December of the year before. I do a lot of thinking in December about the year and moving forward and kind of preparing myself for what kind of goals I want to set and what kind of direction and focus I want to have moving forward in the new year. And when I look back at 2021, I tried to grow way too quickly and I made some missteps. Last year, we got married. I finished grad school, got my master's degree, and I obtained state licensure as a mental health counselor. Preparing for marriage, planning a wedding, getting through grad school, applying for state licensure, taking a national exam, getting a master's degree. These are all things that require a lot from a person. And they took a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of money. And so in doing all of that last year, I had a pretty, I would say, stressful year because in addition to full-time graduate school, I was also doing a full-time clinical internship, which is one of our requirements in counseling and in our graduate program. So not only are you doing school full-time, but you're also working for free full-time. And that's very challenging. And yet, despite all of those changes and all of that achievement and progress that I was making in 2021, I was so eager to start a new chapter in life, to just get married, get done with my graduate program, and start a whole new life, really. I wanted to leave the stress of that season behind. And instead of embracing the timing of my life and, God's timing, I tried to rush through it all, and I tried to make the next chapter of my life happen right as I wanted it. I was thinking about my dream house, about us having more property, about having children, about my dream garden. I spent so much time focused on those things that I wanted for the next chapter that I made some mistakes in that current one. I overspent a lot. I tried to make our home perfect, really, before we got married. In my mind, I was thinking, when we get married, I want our home to be settled. I want it to be a cozy nest that feels like the perfect combination of me and my husband. And we had lived in that home for 8 years, but there was still so much that we wanted to do. And I was thinking about how much time and energy and money that requires. And I wanted the home to be kind of done and completed by the time we got married. That way, if we wanted to have kids, our home was done and wouldn't be requiring all the time, energy, and money that kids need going into the house. So I really spent a lot of my resources last year on making the house really something I love. And we weren't even married yet, and we weren't even talking about kids yet, really. I mean, we talked a little, but like we were in no way there yet. Like I was trying to rush to the next chapter and to get everything prepared for the next chapter without having finished the chapter I was already in. I also spent a fortune on my garden. My garden was such a needed coping mechanism for me last year, throughout grad school, throughout the pandemic, really. I love my garden. I've always wanted to garden, and last year, to escape the stress from school and internship, I really poured a lot of resources into my garden. My garden was a way for me to relax. It was a way for me to connect with God through nature, and it was a way for me to be present, which I very much needed in that season. But in trying to achieve my dream garden overnight or in the course of 1 year, I made some mistakes and I spent way more money than I probably should have, because I bought plants that I could have started from seed if I had been better prepared or if I had been willing to wait a year. But I wanted it all right then, and so I spent a lot of money on plants. I also spent a lot of money on plants and seeds that died because I was a first-time gardener. It's only my second year really having a garden, and you're still learning a lot. You're learning about the different climate needs of different plants. And while I learned so much over 2020 and 2021 about my garden and about gardening in general, I killed a lot of stuff last year because I already had a fully packed schedule with graduate school and internship, planning a wedding, and regular life. So add a garden on top of that, and the money I spent on that garden was a little irresponsible. And trying to get to the next chapter of my life and dreaming all these big, wild dreams I had for my ideal future, I also lost focus on what we already have. I was dreaming of bigger things. I was dreaming of a bigger house. I was dreaming of more property and land. I really wanted us to sell, buy, and move relatively soon after I finished graduate school. You know, just a fresh new chapter and finally being able to achieve some of the things I had wanted for a long time. I was thinking about if we had more property, we could have a small guest apartment or a guest house for our family. We have a really big family, and some of them live really far away, and we love to host. And I always want to be a place that is safe and welcoming and inviting, and a safe spot for people to land should they need it. And so when thinking about our family, I've always wanted this like guest house or guest apartment for people to be able to have some independence, but to still be able to come and live with us for a short time if they need, or just to come visit, like over the holidays and stuff when we have a ton of people there. Just being able to spread it out a little bit and to accommodate more of our big family who we love and who we want to have around. So I was thinking about land and a house that could accommodate that. I also have huge dreams for an ideal garden. I think of a vegetable garden and also a huge cut flower garden and established garden beds that have like perennial flowers around the house and around the edge of the property. And I dream of a small orchard of, you know, like 8 to 20 trees that all bear fruit. And I just have these really big dreams for what the next chapter could hold. Thinking about having children, that's also a huge life change and something that's really exciting, but it was the next chapter of life. It wasn't my current chapter of life. I was dreaming of a home with more character. We currently have a 90s builder grade home, and I just crave old craftsmanship and beautiful character. And in looking ahead at all of those beautiful things I wanted for the future, I lost gratitude for what we already had, and I lost sight of how much of a blessing our current home has been to us the last 8 years. And when I inevitably couldn't achieve all of those things in 1 year, getting married, having kids, finishing graduate school, getting a state licensure, selling our home, buying our dream home and land and all of those things, when I couldn't achieve all of that in 1 year, disappointment inevitably happened. I experienced a season of kind of grieving all the things that I thought that we were going to get to that year, that I thought I could have. And I really kind of sat in that disappointment for a short bit, and that grief for a little bit. And there was disappointment and grief in other areas too. We lost my dog, my sweet Claire girl, who I had for almost 13 years, and my husband and I have been together for 8.5 years. So I've had her 13 years, my husband had her 8.5 years, and we lost her very unexpectedly. So along with the stress of all the stuff that I was accomplishing last year and working towards last year, I added all of these expectations about preparing for the next chapter of life without having currently finished my present one. And so I was grieving when I wasn't able to get to all those dreams that I thought I would be able to get to in 1 year. And then on top of that, you add actual grief and loss in the form of losing a loved one and a family member, and it was really devastating. So the misstep of trying to force or rush progress and get to the next chapter of life without having finished the one I was already in, it resulted in overspending, losing gratitude, losing sight of what we already had, and it was really stressful and taxing. In 2022, I want to welcome a much needed change. I want to embrace slow growth and trusting the timing of my life and trusting God's timing. I want to spend way less money and focus on paying off my student loans now that I'm done with graduate school and getting into my career. I want to grow slow because slow growth means deep growth. When you do not see the canopy of a plant or a tree getting larger, it's often because it's sending resources down to deep growth in the roots. I want to grow slow because that means growing deep roots below the surface and building a solid foundation for my future dreams to one day be built upon. I want to reacquaint myself with a slower pace of life now that the demands of grad school are over, slowly establishing myself in my career and regaining some of that work-life balance that grad school just does not allow for. I want to remember how to enjoy each day and reacquaint myself with a deep sense of gratitude and making the most of what I already have, like our pets, our home, and each other, instead of losing sight of it by looking so intensely ahead at the things that I want. And part of slowly for me is simplifying, returning to a simple practice of gratitude and joy in the present moment each day. A separation from the achieving and materialism that ruled my 2021. I want to grow slowly and deeply where I already am, instead of growing discontent by looking to the future and what I want. 2022 is my 6th or 7th year having a one little word or word to really focus on throughout the year. And my hope is that slowly invites deep-seated gratitude, presence, simplifying, and wise prioritizing into my year. I'm excited for all of the possibilities that the word slowly invites into my mindset, into the way I show up each day, into my behavior, and really shows up in my life. I think there's so much wonderful opportunity in this word slowly. Slowly is an invitation to live at a more natural pace, to return to the simple things in life, joy and gratitude, and cultivating what you already have where you already are, and kind of separating myself from materialism and overachieving. And overachieving is kind of a landmark of my personality. I'm just a really big dreamer and visionary. I have really big dreams. I love to chase them. I love to encourage other people to chase them. But it should never come at the cost of losing sight of what you already have. And it should never come at the cost of your mental health and losing gratitude and losing a positive mindset. And so I really want to take a step back from the disappointment I experienced from that trying to force things that I wanted before they were going to happen. And instead I want to focus on slowly growing, slowly being, slowly living, and really allowing myself a year to be grateful and joyous and present, and to not rush through life, and to not rush through a checklist of things that I want to have or want to accomplish. And I think slowly is a beautiful and really appropriate word for that invitation that I want to have in my life. So that is my 2022 word, slowly. And I am very excited to dive into the Project One Little Word this year. I would love to hear what your word is for 2022. Do you pick a word of the year? If you do, I want to hear all about it. Let me know your thoughts or interpretations on my reflections of 2021 and my word moving forward. Maybe it will spark an idea for you, or tug on those heartstrings a little bit. Maybe your word, like mine, is one that you know you need, but is uncomfortable because it is a separation from the way you have been living or the way you have been thinking. And I think there's a lot of beauty and wisdom in choosing the uncomfortable word that offers a lot of opportunity for personal change and mindset and behavior and the way we show up in the world. I'm really excited about my journey with this word, slowly. I want to hear all about your word. Please leave me a comment down below, and make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you want to see this beautiful intertwining of creativity and mental health, and really using one to benefit the other, using your creativity to help benefit your mental health. And I will have a video coming up soon with my 2022 memory keeping plan. It's gonna go along with my word slowly there, so be on the lookout for that. Make sure you're subscribed. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you leave me a comment down below. I really do want this to be a community where we're talking to one another, supporting one another, and I want to hear about your plans for 2022. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, friends.